Says the Gemara. We're up to the top line on 53, on 53A1. Chasidim mi'anshei ma'asim. The pious men and the good men of good deeds would dance before them and say the words of Shira b'sishbachis l'Hakadosh Baruch Hu, songs and praises to Hashem. Tanu Rabbana. Yesh mehem oimrim asher yal tuseinu shloi baishe zikinu yoseinu. Happy is our youth, which did not shame our old age. Elu chasidim anshei ma'asim. These are the chasidim, the pious men, and the anshei ma'asim, the men of good deeds. I.e., that their entire life, not just in their old age, but even in their youth, we're always on the derech hayoshev ha'atoiv, the straight and good path. V'yesh mehem oimrim, and there were those that said, Asher ziknuseinu shechibra es yalduseinu. Happy is our old age, which has atoned for our misspent youth. I.e., youth is youth, but thank God we woke up and we have made tshuva by our behavior as we have aged. Elu Baalei Tshuva, these are the Baalei Tshuva, the owners of repentance, right? Elu ve'elu oimrim, and both these and those who are good their entire lives, and those who are Baalei Tshuva, say, Asher mi shelo mi shechoto yoshu b'imchaloi. Happy is he who never did an Aveira, but for he who has done an Aveira, let him repent, let him make tshuva and be forgiven. Tanya, we learned, Amru Alav al Hillel HaZoken, they said that Hillel HaZoken, Kishayu Sameach B'Simchas Be'Zesheba, that when he would rejoice at the celebration of the place of the Simcha Be'Zesheba, of the drawing of the water, Amru Kain, he would say the following words, Im ani kan hakol kan, if I am here, all are here. Im einai kan mi kan, but if I'm not here, who is here? So Rashi explains that the I is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If I am present, the Eibush is saying, if I am present in the Beis HaMikdash, then the glory will continue and people will continue to come to it. But if you do Averis, if you sin, causing the Shekhinah to leave the Beis HaMikdash, then the Beis HaMikdash will become desolate and empty. That's Rashi. Tosfos says just the opposite. It's talking about the Jewish people, to which he has spoken in praise. If I am here coming to praise you, Hashem, then the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is here. If Klal Yisrael ceases to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then their connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is broken. Who are you? Hillel HaZoken would say the following. To the place that I love, my feet automatically will take me there. If you will come to my house, I will come to your house. If you will not come to my house, my feet will not come to my house, I will not come to your house. Wherever I permit my name to be mentioned, I will come and bless you. Hang on 1 second. I think my wife is trying to get hold of me. Okay. I'm gonna pause the thing. I'm gonna get back on the Zoom in a minute, in a bit of time. Okay, I'm leaving, but I'm gonna get back onto Zoom in a little bit. Okay, I'm back. Here we go. Hopefully I'm back. Anyways, here we go. So, wherever I permit my name to be mentioned, i.e. in the Beis HaMikdash or our shuls, then I will come to you and bless you. In other words, if you come to me, if your feet lead you to shul and to daven and to learn, then I will come to you and bless your house and bless you. He also saw Hilazakim once saw a skull floating on the water. He recognized it as a murderer's. He recognized somehow that it was the head of a murderer. Amala al da'apta da'atfuch. He dressed it because you drowned others, others drowned you. Umitatchin yitufin. And those who drowned you will eventually be drowned by other people. In other words, this, what do you call it? In other words, there is justice in the world. Nothing happens by accident. There is justice in the world. Amarab, and it all works itself out. There are no coincidences. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Ragloi debar inchi inun archembe. A person's feet are his guarantors. To where he is summoned, they will lead him. In other words, as Rashi explains, when the time comes after 120 years, your feet will lead you to the place you need to be in order for the Malach HaMovis to come, the angel of death to come and take back the neshama. For an example, this case. Hani tati kushoid abikame kamei d'shloima. There were two Kuthians, Goyim, who attended Shlomo HaMelech. El Chayre v'Achir b'nei Shisha Seifrim, the Shlomo Haba. They were Achlifa and Achia, the sons of Shisha, the scribes to Shlomo HaMelech. Yom echad chazil HaMalach HaMovis d'Abika Osif. One day, Shlomo HaMelech saw the Malach HaMovis, the angel of death, was very downcast. Amalei Amai Atzivta, why are you downcast? Because those two Kuthians who sit here are demanded by me. Today's their day to be returned. But for some reason, I've been unable to take them. Upon hearing this, Shlomo HaMelech wanting to save them and make them escape death, handed them over to the Shadim, to the demons, and sent them to the town of Luz. As it were, Shlomo HaMelech was given dominion not only over the animals, and he understood their language and all that, but apparently he was given over the dominion also over to the demons, whatever that means. So they took him to the town of Luz. When they reached the gates of the town of Luz, the angel of death, the Malach HaMovis, was waiting, and he caused them to die before they entered the city. The following day, Shlomo HaMelech saw that the Malach HaMovis was happy. Amalei Amai Bidchat. Why are you happy? Amalei Basadim Iboyu Minei Tamon Shedartinu. To the very place where they needed to be, which was demanded of me to take their lives, so too you sent them. I was supposed to take their lives and take back to the Shabbos in front of the gates of Lodz. Miyad Pasach Shlomo v'Yoma. Immediately Shlomo HaMelech opened his mouth and said, Ragloi devar inchi inun arbi bay. A person's feet are his guarantors. La'asa demisne tama dekula yosi. To where he is summoned at the end of his life, where they will lead him. Okay, we are now on 53A2. Made it through. Okay, here we go. Tanya. We learned. Okay, Tanya. Amr Olav Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. Amar Lam Rav Shimon Gamliel. Kishahayu Sameach Simchas Beis Sheva. When he rejoiced at the Simcha Beis Sheva by the celebration of the water drawing, he would take 8 flaming torches, and he would juggle them one above the other, catching one without touching the other, because when he bowed down in the Beis Hamikdash, he would plant his 2 thumbs into the ground and balance himself on these two thumbs, and bow and kiss the floor and arise. And no one else in his generation was able to do this. And this is the type of bowing that's known as kida. The Gemara says, famously, actually, because it comes up many times in Shas, Levi achve kida kamei de Rebbe. Levi demonstrated kida, bowing in front of Rebbe HaKadosh. He was a Talmud of Rabbi Yehuda Anasi, Rabbi Yehuda the Prince, Rebbe HaKadosh, our holy Rebbe, the one who wrote the Mishnah. Levi achve kida kamei de Rebbe v'itlai, and in doing so, pulled the tendon and became lame. So sprach the Gemara of Garmalei. Was it the act of bowing, the kida bow, that caused him to be lame? Rabbi Elazar said, al yotiach adam devarik klapi malo. A person should never cast words of complaint upwards to heaven in complaining to Hashem. Sharei adam gadol yotiach devarik klapi malo v'itlai. Because a great person once cast words up against heaven, and he became lame from it. Umanu, and who's this person, this great person? Levi. So you see, it did not become lame from the kida bowing. What was the situation? The Gemara Masechtas Tainis, Daf 25a, Chav Hey Amud Aleph, famously brings the situation where Levi established a fast for rain, and the rain didn't come. So the Levi turned to heaven and said, Master of the universe, you have gone up high and you have not taken care of your children. And this was the punishment. So you see, he was punished for talking that way to Hashem, of complaining, Klape Shemaya, and not because of the Kida bowing. Says the Gemara, that in fact, this and that. Mina Shemayim, there were guys that he had to become lame because he used lame words, Klape Shemaya. The way that it happened was in the normal scheme of things. When he was showing them how to do the kida bowing, that's when he became lame. Levi Levi would sport in front of Rebbe with 8 knives which he would juggle. He did this because Rebbe HaKadosh was the leader of Klal Yisrael during a turbulent time within that period of 100 years after the destruction of Beis Hamikdash, and he would get down a lot with the great stress of leading the nation, and Levi would try to make him happy by juggling 8 knives. The Shmuel Kamei Shavar Malka de Misimanya Mazge Chamro. Shmuel would sport in front of Shapur HaMelech, King Shapur, who was a Persian emperor at the time, with 8 glasses of wine without spilling any of the wine. Amazing. Abaya Kame de Rabba b'Misatzei. Abaya would sport before Rabba, who brought Rabba was Abaya's uncle, and Rabba brought him up after Abaya's mother passed away. He would go ahead and juggle 8 eggs in front of Rabba without dropping them. That in fact he juggled only 4 eggs without breaking them. Tanya, we learned. When we would rejoice on Sukkot, starting with Chalamoid, the celebration of the Simcha Beis Hashem, the celebration of the water drawing, Our eyes would see no sleep throughout Sukkot. Ketzat, what happened? In the morning, Shah Rishayna Tamid Shel Shachit. The first hour is taken up with the morning Tamid. Misham L'Tfila. From there we went to David. Misham L'Karban Musaf. Then we brought the Karban Musaf, the extra Kavanas that were brought on Yontif. And therefore, Misham L'Tfilas Musafim. And then we would dive into Musaf the Tfila. Misham L'Beis Medrash. From there we would go to learn in yeshiva. Misham L'Achila B'Shtia. And then we would go to eat a meal for Yontif. Misham L'Tfilas Mincha. Then we would go down to Mincha. Misham L'Tamid Shel Beinu Abayim. And then we would deal with the afternoon Tamid. Mikam Ve'elach L'Simchas Beis Sheva. For the rest of the time, we were now dealing with the Simcha Beis Sheva. So, is it possible that person could go without sleep? Rabbi Yochanan says famously, if someone says, if Ruvain says, Ruvain says, I have an oath that I will not sleep for 3 days, Malkin Oisai v'Yoshin La'alta. We give him Malchus. What do you call? We give him Malchus right away, and he could go to, and he may go to, and he's allowed to sleep immediately. Why? Because the answer is it's a shvua that has no mamoshes. It's impossible to stay awake for 3 days straight. So therefore, the moment you said the shvua, it already was not the shvua. So it was not a shvua. Therefore, you're allowed to sleep immediately. Nonetheless, we gave you Malchus, even though in fact it was nothing. It's a nonsensical thing that you said that I'm going to make, that Ruvain said that I'm going to do is, what do you call it? A swearing, that I won't sleep for 3 days. It's nonsensical. Nonetheless, they gave him Malchus. They gave Malchus is because even though it's a shvua, even though it's a nothing of a shavua, ready call it, even though it's a nothing of a shavua, a person shouldn't get used to the idea of simply swearing, even if it's meaningless, because there's a nafkamina between. In this case, he said, the sleep, I will not sleep for 3 days, right? That's impossible. Nonetheless, if you get so used to going like this, you're going to start getting used to throwing out swear words, swearing left and right. That's enough to get a Malchus. Anyways, so you see that it's impossible to sleep even for 3 days, and certainly not all 6-7 days of Yom Tov, 53:3 Elohachi Kama. This is what Rabbi Yeshua said, that they didn't sleep the whole Sukkot. It means Loi Ta'abnu Tam Shina. We didn't enjoy a proper sleep. Tahabu Min Mone Akaspa Da'adodi. Instead, we would doze by falling asleep on other people's shoulders. Chamish Esrei Malas. The Levium stood on the 15 steps that led down from the Hazara, the regular courtyard, to the Ezras Noshim, which was on a lower level, and it corresponded to the 15 tefillos, the 15 Shir Amalos that David HaMelech wrote in Tehillim from 120 to 134. Amalei Rav Chizlah Rav Chizah said to one of the Rabbanan, who used to say over Agaditas, the legend teachings before him, Amalei Shami said to him, Shmi Allah Chani Chamisha Asalamal Kenegin Mi David. Have you heard anything regarding the 15 Shir Amalis that David, the 15 Shir Amalis, that means the Psalms of Ascent, corresponding to what did King David HaMelech say? Amalei Hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan. This is what Rabbi Yochanan explained. Vishah Shekara David Shitin, at the time when David extricated the Shitin, those caves, those cavities underneath the Mizbeach, so that when they poured the yayin and they poured the mayim, the wine and the water, it would pour down there. So obviously this man the Yoma holds that it wasn't there from the Shishis Shemei Bereshis, but that it was excavated by David HaMelech. Or no, it was there from the Shishis Shemei Bereshis, but David HaMelech is the one that cleared it out over the years. It got all filled up. He cleared it out. He took out all the rocks that fell into it and cleared it up. Either way, Kappa Tahima, when he was clearing it out, the waters of the deep came up. Ubaya lemish tifa. and wanted to, and was threatening to flood the world, right? David, the Chamish Eshem Milas, where I read it to. David said the 15 songs of ascent and caused the waters to go down and recede. In fact, the Gemara, Hachi, why do we call it Chamesh Esem Malois, Shir Hamalois, these songs of going up, of ascent? It should be called Shir Yored Es Mibayale, songs of going down, of descent, as it could be made the water descend down. Amalei, Hoyel Be'adabra, now that you mentioned that, Hachi, now I remember exactly what Rabbi Yochanan was saying. Bishah Shekara David Sheetin, at the time when David excavated the pits, they excavated the cavities underneath the Mizbeach. Kapatahima, the water rose up, Ubayi Lemish Tifa Alma, and it threatened to flood the world. Alma David said, Mi Iki Diyoda Mi Shari Lemichtiv Sham. Does anybody know if we're permitted to write the name of the divine name of Hashem in order to stop the waters? But by doing so, it will erase the name of Hashem. Amid Beis, 53b1. Nun Gimel Amid Beis. Achsapta v'nishte b'sahima. Or on a shot and cast it into the deep. Umanach. And the waters will calm down, but the name will be erased. Lekad to come a meeting, nobody knew the answer. Amad David. So David said, Kol diyadei l'meima v'eina oima. Anybody knows the answer to this question and doesn't answer, Yechoneg b'geroinai, let him choke at the throat. Nasa Achitophel Kavachayim Ba'atzman, Achitophel is Rebbe, David's Rebbe, Smeidach Kavachayim. Mal Asay Shalom Ben Yish Leishtay. In order to make peace between a husband and wife. Amra Torah, the Torah says, should be Nichta B'Kedusha, my name, which is written in holiness. The Abish, this name Hashem's name, Yimcha Alamayim, should be erased in water by the Saita, by the secluded woman. We put the water we put the name of Hashem in the water, and it gets erased, and she drinks that water. What do you call it? To make peace for the entire world, so that the entire world shouldn't get flooded. You're allowed to write Hashem's name and put it there, even though it might get erased. Amalei Shari, Chitayful Paskin, it's permitted. Kosav Shem Achsapti. So David HaMelech wrote it on a shard, wrote the name of Hashem. Kosav Shem Achsapti, he wrote the name of Hashem on the shard. V'shodei l'sahima, and he threw it into the deep. U'menachis tahima shetisa alfei garmide, and the deep subsided. It went down 16,000 amas. Ki chazid denachis tuve, when David saw that the water subsided so much, he said, Kamo de midley tefei mirite valmo. The higher the water, closer to the surface, the more moist and fertile is the land. So so he said the 15 songs of Shir Amalis, songs of ascent, and brought the water back up 15,000 amas, and caused it to settle 1,000 amas below the earth's surface, as opposed to before, so it was much closer to the surface. Ula, Shemamina, learn from here, Sumcha Da'ara Alper Garmide, that the thickness of the earth, okay, the distance from the earth's surface down to the deep, where the waters are, is 1,000 amas. Says the Gemara about Chazir and the Charina Purta the Nofik Baya. But we see that in the bubble, we dig only a little bit, and water comes out. You don't have to dig so far to get to water. Water comes out when you dig only a little bit. Says the Gemara, the water doesn't come from the deep, but it's coming from the ladders of the Euphrates River. The Euphrates River these waters are a tribute from the Euphrates. The Euphrates is at a very high elevation, so the water pressure allows the underground tributaries to flow upwards to almost an equal height. This is called the ladder of the Euphrates, because they climb upwards towards the Euphrates. Okay, fine. Says the Gemara Baita, the Mishnah said, and two Kahanim stood by the upper gate, by the Shar and Nicanor. leading out from the Heichal and the Ulam towards the Azaris, as it's Noshim. And then if you remember, they went down, they said they went to the 10th step, and there they sounded the tekiah, the trua, and the tekiah. They blew the tekiah, the trua, and the tekiah. When it says the 10th step, the noch is chamisha v'koya asra, doesn't mean they descended 5 steps and stood on the 10th step from the bottom. They got 10 more steps to go to get off the steps. Dilma, the noch is asara, they actually descended 10 steps. The koya chamisha, they stood on the 5th step to go. Teiku, we don't know. Okay. So if you remember, we went all the way through that the Kahanim kept moving out towards the Shara Mizrach, to the east side, facing Harazesim. And when they got there, they turned around and their faces were facing the sanctuary. And they said, our forefathers turned their backs to the sanctuary and bowed down to the sun rising over the east. But we turn our backs to the sun when we are bowing to Anulika, Deinenulika. We are for you, and our eyes are towards you. Tanu Rabbanon, that which that says their faces were eastward. That means that the forefathers who bowed down to the sun were facing eastward. Don't we know, therefore, obviously, that if their faces are facing east, their backs were facing west, which is towards the Heichal. So why do I have to say it? What does it mean that their backs were to Hashem's sanctuary? From here we learn, that they bared themselves, reason klape mata, and they defecated. They defecated towards the Mokim HaHeichal while bowing towards the sun. That's how depraved they were. Anu leka einenu. We are for Hashem, and towards Hashem are our eyes. So the question is, you repeated Hashem's name twice. Eini, but are you allowed to repeat Hashem's name twice within one sentence? Reb Zera says, famous Gemara, Shema, Shema. If a person says Shema, Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Shema L'keinu, Shema Echad, Shema Yisrael, Shema L'keinu, Shema Echad, Ki'ilu Ama Moedim Moedim. It's as if he says, we give thanks, and should be silenced, because it looks like you're accepting 2 deities instead of the one and the only. This is the way. Our ancestors bowed eastward to the sun. But for us, we bow to Hashem. And towards Hashem do our eyes look expectantly. So that's how we explain it, that it wasn't 2 languages. It was one that we bow, and 2 that we look to Hashem constantly for our salvation. Says the Mishnah further, we talked about that they did, every time the Kohen moved during this procession, they blew the shofar. Tekiah, Shavara, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, as we're going to see, it might really be Tekiah, Shavara, Teruah, Tekiah, which gets to the reason why we blow 100 times. Because Midia Raisa, all you had to blow on Rosh Hashanah is 9 blasts. That's it, 9. But because we don't know exactly what the blasts are, was it Tekiah, Shavarim, Teruah, Tekiah? Or was it Tekiah, Shavarim, Tekiah? Or was it Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah? Or, in fact, it was Tekiah, Shavarim, a breath, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, which is Shtei Neshimas as opposed to 1 Neshimot, 2 breaths as opposed to 1 breath. Or was it Tekiah, Shavarim, break, Teruah, Tekiah, Shavarim, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah. So since you have so many different combinations, that's why we blow 100. But anyways, let's go on Rosh Hashanah. Let's learn over here. This says the Mishnah. On any given day, we do not blow less than 21 trumpet blasts in the Mesa Migdash ve'ema sifin alaber shmona, and never more than 48, either 21 or 48. Every day there was at least 21 blasts in the base of Mikdash. 3 for the opening of the gates. Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, 3. 9 for the morning Tamid. Tekiah, Shavarim, Teruah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, Shavarim, Teruah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shavarim, Teruah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shavarim, Teruah, Tekiah. And 9 for the afternoon Tamid. And when there was a Musaf offering on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh and on Yom Tov or Yom Kippur, they added another, they added another 9 for Musaf. Erev Shabbos, Hayumasipin Sheish, they would blow another 6 blasts. Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah. Shalosh lahabtil ha'amil mechamah, the first blast to tell people to stop working. V'shleish lahadam and kodesh l'chol, and 3 to distinguish between the weekday is ending and the holy day is beginning. And in Borough Park, in fact, there are 2 sirens. One 10 minutes before Lechtzinin, and a siren at Lechtzinin. Shalosh l'sharel, and it's the same idea with the shofar. Shalosh. Okay. I'm sorry. Erev Shabbos Shebetoich on Erev Shabbos that fell during Sukkot, the Yom Tov itself, there would be 48 blasts. 3 for opening up the gates. 3 for going up to the Shara Nikanor. 3 to go to the lower gate leading out to the east. And 3 for filling up those kalim with water. And 3 when it was brought to the side of the altar. 9 for the morning tamid and 9 for the evening tamid. And 9 for the musik. 3 to stay the people from work because of Shabbos, and 3 to distinguish between the sacred and the mundane, for a total of 48 blasts. Says the Gemara, 53b3, we're getting to the end of the Yom. Masnisin, the like Rabbi Yehuda. Our Mishnah is not like Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya, because we learned Rabbi Yehuda, if one blows, one should blow no less than 7 blasts. And at most, one should blow no more than 16. What are they arguing? It's a major argument because the Rabbanan say 24 to 48, and Rabbi Yehuda says 7 to 16. There's a huge difference. Says the Gemara B'Emerson, they're not arguing at all. Rabbi Yehuda Saba Tekiah Teruah Tekiah Akasu. The set of Tekiah Teruah Tekiah is not 3 blasts. That's considered 1 blast because they're one unit together. The Rabbanan Sabri Tekiah L'chud V'Teruah L'chud, that each one is a different. So the key is 1 blast, Teruah is another blast, the key is a 3rd blast. My time of the Rabbi Yehuda that we look at it all as 1 unit. Amakrav etikatev Teruah, you should blow a Teruah. V'ksiv Teruah yiskadu, they shall blow a Teruah. Haketzad, how's this? How's it? Tekiah v'Teruah akasi. That means a Tekiah and a Teruah is, in fact, all part of 1 unit of blowing. The Rabbanan, and the Rabbanan, this comes to teach us that every time you blow a Teruah, you need to blow a Tekiah before and afterwards, which of course is what we do on Rosh Hashanah and all Chodesh Elul. We blow a Tekiah at the beginning, the Tekiah at the end, and the Shvarm Teruah in the middle. And of Rabbi Yehudi, where does he know that I need to blow Tekiyahs before and afterwards? He learns it out when the pasuk used the word again. V'Rabbanan my tamayu tiksiv v'hakeles akol tiknu v'loy sa'iru. Gather together the congregation, you shall sound the Tekiah, but not a Teruah. Amar Rachmana Palga the mitzvah of it, Palga loy of it, that you should only do half the mitzvah and not the whole mitzvah. Rather, each one is a blow, each sound is a mitzvah b'fnei. We don't look at it as one whole unit, but each are mutually exclusive within a unit. Rabbi Yehuda, who is Simona ba'alma. This is merely a siman. The blow beforehand, get everybody's attention that we're about to blow the call, the sound that we're supposed to hear. And the second one is to tell us this is the break of that, and now we're moving on to the next one. You're right, it's a signal. But in this case, with regard to shofar blows in, HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes it into a mitzvah. 53b4. The fact that the Torah demands that the Kehillah, the congregation, be assembled, teaches us that the signal that we're signaling, the assembling, is a mitzvah. Kaman says the Gemara, Kaman Hazla, Hadi Omer of Kahana, Ain, Bain, Tequila, True, Veloy Club. There's no pause between the Tequila and the True at all. Kaman, Ki Rabbi Yehuda. It must be like Rabbi Yehuda, who holds it's all one unit. So you got to move through it. Tekiah, Shvarim Teruah, Tekiah. Pshita, says the Gemara, well, that's pretty obvious. What else are you going to say? That's the Gemara, and now we're on today's daf. Nun Daled Amid Aleph.